Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another Modern Warfare video. Today's topic is going to be the minimap, which in my opinion is above and beyond the most controversial change that Infinity Ward made with this year's game. It's more important than removing the prestige system and replacing it with officer ranks. It's more important than map design and even weapon balance, because the minimap always has been and always will be one of the most important aspects of a Call of Duty game. Back during the beta, Infinity Ward set out to prove a point that the game could be good with no minimap, right? Right from the beginning, fans were skeptical, myself included, but Infinity Ward insisted that everybody give it a try before they came to a conclusion, and not surprisingly, fans didn't like it, right? Within a few days, the minimap was re-added to the game, but this time around, it didn't show enemy fire. Players could use the minimap to see where the objectives were and the layout of the map and see where their teammates are positioned, but unless a UAV was in the sky, they still were pretty clueless as to where the enemy team was hiding. Going from the beta to the full game here, no changes have been made to the minimap's functionality. Enemy players still don't show up on the radar, and surprise surprise, Modern Warfare is being bashed for being one of the slowest, campiest games in the history of the franchise. Now I must say, before we go any further, I do respect Infinity Ward for trying something new and trying to make such a bold decision. Instead of relying on the minimap, they want people to use their environment to get information about the enemy team. A tried and true tactic, of course, would be looking at where your teammates are positioned, and if you're in an objective game mode, look where the flags are or where the bombs are, and then from there, you try to infer where the enemy team is just based on your knowledge of the map. On top of that, we have footsteps and of course the sound of bullets being fired, but aside from that, we really don't have a lot of intel outside of our characters occasionally calling out people that we may or may not see. For some people, I get that that's awesome, right? I totally get that. It makes the game feel a lot more dangerous and a lot more intense as compared to the previous games, because quite honestly, like in Black Ops 4 and Call of Duty World War II, and even Modern Warfare Remastered to a lesser extent, I didn't really listen to the game sound. I would simply just run around playing the game with my Spotify turned all the way up, but these days, I don't have any kind of music playing in the background. I don't like being in a party chat for crying out loud, because people talking can sometimes get me killed. I feel like if there's any sort of distraction whatsoever, I find myself doing way worse as compared to if I'm intently focused on listening for footsteps and gunfire and map callouts and things like that. The argument being made for those who are in favor of the current minimap is that the game feels more tactical, right? They find that it's more tactical, it's more real, it's more gritty, it's more down to earth. But honestly, I feel like, and I know a lot of you guys in the comments are going to agree, I feel like there's a huge difference between tactical, intense combat and just straight up boring camping. Right? How many times have you guys, over the course of the past couple of days, how many times have you been killed by some person who is literally just sitting in the corner or sitting behind a door? Like, they open the door, they go inside, they go behind the door, they basically just sit in the corner behind there waiting for people to come through. Or how many times have you died to somebody who's been in a window? Or you walk out of a building and there's a building across the way and there's a person in each window and a person in the doorway just aiming down sights waiting for you to move. How often does that happen? Because for me personally, it happens all the freaking time. Every single game. Now, some people are going to say that's just bad map design, and I agree that so far, the maps in this game are pretty mediocre. There's not really a map where I'm like, oh boy, I can't wait to play on this map. But at the same time, I definitely think the biggest reason why the gameplay is the way it is because of the minimap. Because players have such little information at any given time, and because the time to kill is so fast, most people are just content to not move whatsoever because, as we discussed a dozen times here in the channel, Modern Warfare punishes rushing. That's not to say that it can't be done. I've seen some videos and some live streams of people doing it, but more often than not, those are just highlight games. That is not your average game of Modern Warfare as compared to the previous COD titles where players could rush around and that could actually be a viable playstyle. In my own personal opinion, the pacing of Modern Warfare is basically that of a snail's pace, right? It's very slow all the time, and you guys know me. I love respawn game modes. I love modes like Kill Confirmed and Domination, and here in Modern Warfare, I do like to play 10v10 Dom, but in my experience so far, it's actually super uncommon for anybody in a 10v10 domination match to get 20 kills. I mean, think about that for a second. 20 kills over the course of almost 10 minutes. I get that the maps are way bigger than what we're used to, but my goodness, guys. The pacing of Modern Warfare is really more like that of a Battlefield game than a Call of Duty game. I'm not even talking about Ground War. Ground War is basically straight up conquest from Battlefield. I'm talking about just like regular 6v6, 10v10, things like that. It basically feels like a Battlefield game. If you get 30 kills in a match, that was like an absurdly awesome match that you should probably take a screenshot of because it's not going to be happening again anytime soon. It's actually absurd. And I want to pose the question, can a fun gameplay experience be made from that? Right? Because for me personally, so far, I have been enjoying leveling up. I'm enjoying unlocking new guns and doing the different mission challenges and things like that. But I feel like Modern Warfare is really missing that fun factor right now. Sure, it does feel good when you go on a streak, but for me personally, those streaks are very few and far between, and that's coming from a lifelong 2.5 KD player who only rushes with submachine guns and shotguns, right? In virtually every other game, I do just fine, but here in Modern Warfare, I feel like if I move, I'm just punished, and if I don't move, I find the game to get boring, right? I don't find it to be really that much fun, and I understand that for some people, the way Modern Warfare is paced right now is fun. That's what they like, but I still feel like at the very least, Infinity Ward should test out the game with a proper functional mini-map. I mean, just make a weekend event out of it or something. Just try it out. See how the game would change, because I feel like players would be much more comfortable moving around if they actually had the mini-map working properly. And those people who do decide to still sit in windows and corners all day, I feel like they're going to get picked off a lot more often because people are going to know exactly where they are. On top of that, and we're getting off topic here, I can't wait for new maps to hit this game. I discussed it in my first impressions video, but right now, if you want to play one specific game mode, there really aren't that many maps for the game, right? And the maps that are here are pretty much mediocre at best, right? I remember during Black Ops 4, people often complained that Treyarch recycled too many maps, and I agree, there were way too many recycled maps in that game. It was actually pretty absurd, but at the same time, I like when they recycle maps, because I don't know about you guys, but here in Modern Warfare, if we had High Rise, if we had Terminal, maybe Seatown from Modern Warfare 3, or Backlot from Call of Duty 4, if those maps were to be re-added to this game, I feel like it would spice up the game's multiplayer quite a bit. I've always held the opinion that while new maps are nice, I enjoy exploring and experiencing new content. I've always held the opinion that just because a map is new does not necessarily mean it's going to be good. When a throwback map gets put into the game, at the very least we know that the map is going to be good, because we've played on them a bunch of times before. Now obviously, I'm going to continue playing the game, and I'm going to continue trying to learn the Modern Warfare maps, and who knows, maybe after a few weeks or so, the maps will start to play better as you and me and everyone else in the community start to learn the maps a little bit better. But still, I feel like having some throwback maps would definitely help out the game quite a bit. But if you think about it, the reason why those throwback maps are so good is because we've played them so much. So I'm holding out hope that the Modern Warfare maps are going to get better over time, but for right now, they do seem very mediocre, and they really do encourage that very slow, campy playstyle, which again, for some people is fine, but I feel like we would have a better time on these maps, going back to it, if we had a proper working mini-map. I truly do hope that Infinity Ward at least considers testing out some changes for it, because right now, and this is also based off the feedback I read on YouTube, Twitter, and Reddit, it seems like the vast majority of the people that play this game think it's way too slow, and in some cases, they find it boring. Right? And that is the worst criticism that you can throw at a game developer. If their game is unbalanced, that's one thing. They can fix that, right? If there are bugs that need to be addressed, that's another thing. They can fix that. But if fans just straight up find your game to be boring, they're going to move on to something else. And we're only a couple of days into Modern Warfare's life cycle, and people are already saying that they're bored of the game because it's not interesting to play. The outside systems are awesome. I love the officer rank system. I like the unlock systems. I like how we have so many different camos and challenges and all these things to do with our weapons. That is all fantastic. But the core gameplay for a lot of people is pretty boring right now. And that's definitely a bad sign. And so I truly do hope that Infinity Ward will test out some changes to the minimap. At the very least, just try it out, right? If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. But at least try it, because I feel like that would make the game speed up quite a bit. And I feel like people are going to have a lot more fun with it as a result. But as always, I would love to hear what you guys think down there in the comments. The minimap is by far, in my opinion, one of the most controversial subjects of Modern Warfare so far, outside of everything, right? Forgetting about everything else, just the minimap itself Would the game be better if it worked like it did in every other Call of Duty game? Leave your thoughts and feedback down there in the comments. Thank you guys all so much for listening, and be sure to also let me know how you guys are enjoying or not enjoying Modern Warfare so far. I would definitely love to hear about that, and as always, I'll be with you every step of the way as the game gets updated and new things are added and new things are being changed about it. I will keep you guys up to date as any information comes out, but for right now, I'm going to end off this video. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.